Hi, my name is Liz Hathway and this is my astrological look at the week ahead. So I just want to reflect a little bit on last week before coming into this coming week. I thought it was really great that I mentioned Boris Johnson, who in the course of last week was summoned to court for comments that he had made or statements he had made during the Brexit referendum campaign, which were clearly untruths. And yeah, he was called to book and he now has to appear in court, which is very interesting as I said last week, some things would come back and bite. Well, that's exactly what I was thinking of, that sort of thing. And I specifically mentioned, of course, Boris Johnson. The other Gemini that was in the news, and also reflecting back on last week and talking Twitter storm, was of course Donald Trump. Donald Trump's new hairstyle. What does that signify? What does that mean? This is one of the topics that was causing a real Twitter storm, certainly on Sunday. And these are the kind of things that I was talking about last week, which certainly seemed to animate the collective in a way in the course of last week. So we're off to this week. We've got a kind of a clean sheet, a new start in a way, because we have a new moon today in Gemini. Really nice new moon. Its ruler Mercury is at the moment, of course, ahead of the sun, and it's going to change sign actually tomorrow. So change is hanging in the air around this new moon. There's a lot of challenges with this new moon, a lot of problem-solving things that are going to come up, I think. And what we have to be very careful about now, I think, is that we don't try to resolve problems on the same kind of level as which they were created. We really do have to expand and start to think a bit outside the box now. I think that is what the planets are saying at the moment. And I want to expand on that a little bit. I mean, this new moon in Gemini is, it's kind of there opposite Jupiter, isn't it? I mean, Jupiter's in Sagittarius retrograde. So Sun and Moon are both going to encounter Jupiter now. And we also have Neptune in Pisces. And Neptune is, as the moon and then the sun move along in Gemini, they're going to move into that T-square to Neptune. And Neptune is of a higher order, it's a higher order than the sun or the moon, a higher order than Jupiter. It's an outer planet. So it's stretching our imagination, actually, really pulling the mind into new territory. And if we look at the other event that's going on, then we've got Mars out of bounds, of course, and very emotional, very clingy, very combustible in a way. Cancer, Mars in Cancer, out of bounds. And it's, Mars in Cancer is in fall because it's quite an emotionally charged Mars. It's very defensive. It's gonna, it's gonna roll up its sleeves if it feels any threat on its personal borders there. So Mars now coming up into the opposition with Saturn, Pluto in Capricorn. And again, the planet that is creating, if you like, a way out here is Neptune, because Neptune is going to trine Mars, and Neptune is sextiling that Saturn-Pluto happening in Capricorn. So you see that Neptune is picking up on the T-square energy, the mutable T-square energy, but it's also picking up on that Mars, Saturn, Pluto, and they're all moving in around the eclipse degrees of the summer. So Neptune is very much in the picture at the moment. And Neptune is, as I said, Neptune is the enemy of borders. It's very fluid, it's very flowing. It's a shapeshifter in many ways. It's a game changer because of its capacity to expand the imagination, to look for answers in new areas, in new places. And I was playing with this idea. I mean, think one of the things that we can think of, for example, with Neptune in Pisces, just to kind of change the narrative a bit, is things like the joy of idleness, the joy of laziness, the pleasure of it, the delight of non-attainment, the non-guided meditation, the senseless gabble. You know, we need to go beyond the known here. We need to search in new directions for exciting new answers. Neptune is, as I say, at the moment, very much the focal planet. So it's about fluidity, it's about moving beyond, it's about not being pinned down. It is transcendent, it is yearning, and it's very much as well because Saturn's in the picture. This is one of the themes I talk about quite a bit in my year view of the year, because Saturn is sextile in Neptune. It's about earthing the dream. It's about bringing things into contact with reality. It's a reality check, but at the same time, testing new realities, testing new approaches, testing new ways of doing things. And this very much tunes in, I think, to this new moon in Gemini. Gemini is all about, you know, searching, stretching, imagination, ideas, new ones, taking off into new directions, exploring possibilities. So this in many ways, you know, as we move in, as I say, with that Mars coming in now more into play, coming into eclipse season at the time of a new moon, we should be really stretching our imagination this week, but also embracing, you know, contradictions such as the joy of idleness or the joy of non-attainment, and just, you know, trying to break some of the thoughts and ideas that might have us chained down, might be bogging us down, might be keeping us in a fixed pattern of thought. Because yeah, Neptune is the infinite, it's the sea. There is so much more possible than we can really, you know, imagine, or we have to really kind of, you know, try and go beyond what we can imagine now. So Tuesday, Mercury moves into Cancer, Mars is also in Cancer, the Sun is still in Gemini. So thoughts become very much more centered around the personal, very much around home, family, my own ideas, especially with Mars there being very defensive in some ways as well. So it's about as well nurturing, you know, our thoughts, nurturing ideas, you know, giving certain ideas as well, maybe that are conceived under the new moon, the chance to grow. You know, we have to choose. Cancer is a cardinal sign, so it's about direction and it's about choices. You know, these are the changes in the seasons. The main changes in that Sun-Earth relationship occurs under the cardinal signs. So maybe out that sea of possibility, we have to run with a few things, that we have to nurture a few of our ideas that we really think have a chance to grow. It's not the only planet, however, moving sign this week. Just as Mercury moves into Cancer, we see on Sunday Venus moving into Gemini. So Venus is moving out of her sign of rulership and into this sort of networking sign, into this sign of dating, into this sign of flirting, into this sign of the chat up, into the sign of, you know, experimentation in terms of relationship. You know, it's multifaceted, Venus, when it comes into Gemini. So that's really nice, actually, Venus in Gemini. Certainly if you're single and you want to get out there and you want to do some dating. So it's an interesting week. On Monday, today, just backtracking a bit, we have Venus trine Pluto. So this is the sort of last aspect now that Venus will make before she moves into Gemini on Sunday. And the other major aspect that we have this week is Mercury sextile Uranus on Friday, which is, again, you know, it's sort of tying into the theme of this week, which is very much with that new moon in Gemini, about sowing seeds, taking the strong ones, nurturing them, earthing things, and not being afraid to question some of our cherished thoughts and some of our cherished ideas about life and about ourselves, because there's this mutable quality with Gemini, and it's bringing things into, it's a shift shaping sort of week. Okay, thank you for listening. Bye.